So pull-up jumpers have been good for a while now in NBA 2K, but this is taken to a completely different level in NBA 2K25. So the addition of new fadeaway animations, sharp pull-up jumpers, and quick stops within your dribble pull-up animations make pull-up jumpers one of the best and most underrated shots in NBA 2K. And this is especially true given how contests work in the game. So this video, we're going to talk about the Klay fade. You'll need an 86 midi or 3-ball for this, with a height of at least 6'5 to 6'9. The Klay fade is actually one of those underrated animations that pro play improves, because most of the time people only use fades for the lateral fadeaway, which you can see Devin Booker is a pretty famous one. So if you didn't know, basically fades are activated by running at an angle. Usually for lateral fades, it's from the left to right or right to left, and then just hold square or up on the right stick while holding R2. So people tend to favor the fadeaways, just like this Kevin Durant fade. It covers a lot of distance and has a lot of height, escaping your defender, especially when you're moving laterally. The problem is with these types of fades, you will sometimes jump a little bit too far to the right that brings you to help defense, as you can see right here. If he actually contested that shot, that would have been a good contest. So the Klay fade going to the left is pretty good in terms of generating a lot of distance, but more importantly, you're able to lift off the floor very quickly, and it doesn't cover too much distance that it sends you directly into help defenses. Why I also like it going to the left is if you combo it with your crossover, it turns into sort of a hop jumper, an additional hop jumper. Just take a look at the distance we cover right here by immediately blending that crossover into a fade, giving us that hop gather. And look at all the distance that created between me and my defender for an easy fading 3. Again, combining it with your speed boosts gives you that extra distance going left or going to the right. This is one of my favorite ways to use the Klay fade because of the hop gather you get out of it. But an underrated technique that people don't use pull-up jumpers for is the short pull-up jumper. And what do I mean by this? This is the quick lift out of that nice attack dribble. So 3 rules: attack, read, and then lift when ready. So here I'm just pushing forward, trying to get Steph to move laterally. So here I assume a very attacking position, shoulders down, hips loaded up. And then once I see Steph commit to cutting me off, I just lift off of the floor. And this works because people are usually threatened by the fact that after that nice attacking dribble, once you generate an advantage, you're usually off to the basket, and this puts the fear in most opponents. And we're gonna use that fear against our defenders. What we want to do is attack forward, force them to react, and really try to keep up with you laterally. Because if they're trying to keep up with you laterally, they cannot jump or raise their hands quick enough before you're able to lift off of the floor. This is where we take your unpredictability as an advantage. As you can see right here, my defender is still concerned about trying to cut me off and getting a bump. While he's stuck in that animation, we just simply rise off of the floor for that simple 1-dribble pull-up. Again, simple triple threat swing launch gives us an advantage going to our right. Our defender has to catch up to us, and before he realizes that we've already lifted for the pull-up jumper, it's already been too late. Same situation right here. He might have his hands up, but he's moving laterally, and that's not enough to cover the distance that's needed to contest that fade. The thing here is that we want to scramble the mentals of our opponent, forcing him to guess. We're using the space right here as additional fear factor for our opponent, and as you can see, he just wants to try to cut me off going to the basket, but take advantage of that, and it is always a race to get up. Between you and your defender, who gets up first will win that encounter. And in this situation, I took too many dribbles, and that allowed my defender to perfectly calculate that he'd be able to contest. I still make that shot because I am like that, but the coverage was tight and I do not like that. So think about it this way: keep the defense always at a threat position. That unpredictability, use it to your advantage and just rise up when you get the right read. So I've shown you situations off of the triple threat, but this also works off of the dribble. Attack off the bounce when you got them moving backward or abandoning a proper defensive stance. Use that against them to rise up into your leaners. So while going to the left, the distance that the Klay fade generates is pretty good. Going to the right, look at that footwork. It's almost like a quick stop, and why I really like it, especially off of the pick and roll. But as you can see right here, all I'm doing from these situations is punishing my defenders with a simple left stick crossover and then rising up as soon as I gain an advantage. Before they are able to jump, they're not gonna realize that it's already been too late. This also works against a lot of those pinching help defenses. The ability to rise up very quickly creates such an advantage for you, and why I really like the Klay fade over something like the book fade, which in my opinion is good, but it takes a while to load up. So I'm showing you right here that it works well with the SGA style dribble crossover. As I mentioned earlier, use that hop when you combine it with your crossover. It's like adding a different lateral step back jumper. Again, just take a look at the distance you cover out of the Klay fade combined with an SGA dribble style crossover. And while these types of side fades are good, there's more depth to pull-up jumpers than you think, and we have Pro Play really to thank for this. So a lot of people were making us think about the ability to not stop very quickly, but what people don't realize is that animations have built-in properties that allow you to stop, square yourself towards the basket for an easy jumper. There are also new retreat fades that are added through Pro Play, and Klay has some of the best retreat fades that is done by moving backwards and holding square to essentially give you different types of quick release fadeaway jumpers. These Klay retreat fades are some of my favorites in the game. I don't use them very much in in-game situations because it will take a lot for me to retreat backwards. But this is an example of a catch and shoot curl pull-up jumper from Klay. Just take a look at how you set your feet, square yourself to the basket, and therefore you're able to sink that target in very easily. Of course, we also have our transition pull-ups, which the Klay fades are also pretty good at. It's just so easy to see your visual cue, and it's so easy and smooth to time. So once again, different pull-up jumpers have different properties to them. The Paul George I like also because it allows you to stop, raise up, and make sure that you don't jump into incoming help defenses. For example, as you can see right here, it's almost like a quick stop, how I move from a transition pace into a quick pull-up jumper pace. Just take a look at this. The fade going to the left again, almost like a quick stop. I stop in this position right here to raise up, square my shoulders to the basket, and easily time this pull-up three. So if you've been following this channel, you know we're high on a lot of these pull-up jumpers, but people don't realize that, if you take advantage of the way the contest system is built in 2K25, there are a multitude of ways that you can score in 2K in tight situations that you didn't think was possible. So while people mostly use the Booker type lateral fadeaways to accentuate the space and the vertical leap that you get, I think the short pull-up jumper is one of the most powerful tools in NBA 2K25, and the Klay fade in particular has a very good short pull-up jumper that gives you a lot of distance going left or right, but also doesn't push you forward too much. It's also easy to time and super smooth. So I hope this video was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.